Hey everyone, I bought something suspiciously cheap. This is the Kinhank 500gb retro game emulation hard drive. I picked this up for a massive £11 off AliExpress. Let's go and check it out. I couldn't get my capture card to pick up the audio, but the sound was still coming through the headset, so just for general gaming use, this is fine. Let's see what consoles this has available. As you can see, this has virtually everything up to the PS3. I can't think of anything that's been missed out. Let me know in the comments if you think there's anything missing from this. With all the games added together for each console, this equates to over 111,000 games. A little bit of a disclaimer here, I do not know all of these consoles, a lot of these are BC, so I'm going to check out the ones I do know some stuff about and look for some particular games. Let's start with some classic arcade machines. First game I'm going to be looking for is possibly the most stressful game I've ever played, which is Crazy Balloon, and this has it. Next up, I'm looking for Galaxian and Galaga, two of the best shooter arcade machines that have been out. And here they are, but it is missing some variants of the Galaxian games such as Galaxian Part 10, Galaxian Part 4, and also the Midway version of it. And now we're looking for the final one I'd be looking for, which is Pac-Man, because what kind of machine like this would not have Pac-Man on it? And now we move on to the Game Boy Advance. As you can see, there are a lot of 2-in-1 games here, so there's probably quite a lot of repeats in this section. First Game Boy Advance games we're going to be looking for are the Crash Bandicoot ones, because they're really good, they hold up great even now. As you can see, there are a lot of repeats here because it has the games for every region. Next up, we're looking for the Pokémon games, because what would a Game Boy Advanced emulator be without Pokémon in it? As you can see, we do have all the Pokémon games for the Game Boy Advance, but again, there are a lot of repeats. And now finally, we're looking for the Spyro games for the Game Boy Advanced. The Spyro games do show how good the Game Boy Advance really can be with 3D games. And here are the Spyro games, but we do have multiple repeats here again. And next up, we have the Game Boy Color. I don't know much about the Game Boy Color games, so we're just going straight to Pokémon. Here we are at Pokémon, and I am genuinely shocked there aren't any Gen 1 games here. Also, again, note the amount of repeats that are here. And here we have the OG Xbox, which only has one game in it, one that I've never heard of before. And here we have the N64. I don't know much about the N64 apart from that I know the Mario games are really good and James Bond games are really good, particularly GoldenEye. And they're all on here from what I can tell. And now it's time for the Nintendo GameCube. This is where I start to see some problems with the drive. We only have 25 games for the GameCube, and this is kind of like an ongoing theme with newer consoles of this era and upwards. At least all the titles for the GameCube on this are really good ones. This drive can emulate Nintendo Switch, but it's only got one game and I've never heard of it before. And again, another newer console with only 3 games in, but at least they are the best ones. And now for my first ever console, the PlayStation 1, and here it really does not disappoint. Every game that comes to mind that I looked for, it had. It had the original Hercules on it, the first ever game that I completed. Hogs of War, probably one of my favourite multiplayer games of all time. All the Spyros are on it, the Crash Bandicoot games, Final Fantasies, Bugs Bunny games, everything. All really, really top games. And the final console I'm going to look at is the PS2. There's only 30 games on here, similar to the Nintendo Wii, the Switch. Not many games, but at least the ones that are there are all really, really good. You've got your GTAs, Final Fantasy games are on there. All the top games that come to mind are on this drive. Did San Andreas always run this slow? Have I always looked at it with like rose tinted spectacles or something? Because this just doesn't seem right, to be honest. These specs on this PC should be overkill for San Andreas, so I'm starting to think there might be an issue with this drive. Now for my verdict. Do I think this drive here is worth £11? 100% yes. There are a few drawbacks, don't get me wrong. I wish it was an SSD rather than a hard drive. You know, the load times, they could be a lot better, like on the ones we've done in previous videos. I'd like to think that the issue with San Andreas may be down to the speed of the drive, because the PC spec should have been overkill for that, really. So yeah, 100% I would agree. This is worth the money. I mean, even if this didn't come with the games and it was just a Bottasura drive, pre-set up with the emulators, this would still be fantastic value for money. So, I look for more stuff on these websites and I should hopefully bring a new video out soon. Have a good one, everyone.